Hey everybody, I'm Ken LeBrun with RevolutionGreen.com. We have Russ Gries here with RWG Research. Say hello, Russ.
Hi, it's Grease, by the way.
Greece? Spell it like Greece?
There you go.
Okay,
You
cool.
got it.
All right, we're here to talk to him about his goals, what he's working on, some of the projects he's working on, what are his favorite projects, and also in the call we got Mark Danzy and Christopher Wolfer, our uh, our research guy for the RevolutionGreen.com. So, all right,
And the admin of the PAP NGE Facebook group.
right, correct,
Gotta throw my
and
stuff
and
in there,
everybody
man.
knows Darth Dancy, so. All right, so I guess first things first, Russ, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do, what you're working on, and we'll go from there.
Sure. My name's Russ Gries, and I kind of consider myself a reporter researcher. And I see things that, I don't know, seem kind of suspicious or seem very interesting. And the only way to find out whether or not those things are real is try it yourself. So that's kind of what I do. I build something that I see, or sometimes I'll go out on my own and build something random on my, that I'm doing myself. That's fine too. But I really try to prove or disprove people's technologies and try to find something that works, and then share that information open and free all the time. I do even what I consider what I call open live science, where I do a lot of live shows and people can actually come and watch what I do live. So I try to get the information out there as soon as possible. And if I come across something really interesting or unique, then you guys have that information right then and there, and you can take it and spread that information. So my goal is to, improve and share knowledge, and I don't know, make this place we call them a little bit better. So it's kind of an introduction, I guess.
All right, you broke up a little bit there. Anybody catch that?
That's fine. It
Okay,
comes through.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about the projects you're working on. What's the one that's at the top of your queue right now?
Right now, I've been working on a replicating the PAP noble gas engine. Um, I've done a lot of research. I've done a lot of digging, and in my eyes, I've successfully proven that there's something to continue researching on this. There's something unique about it, and I see some positive outcome. It's just a matter of trying everything under the sun and seeing what we get with different reactions, different gases, different things. Most of you probably are watching this are familiar with either my work or the noble gas engine, but a brief description is basically an engine that runs on noble gases. You fill it up once and you run it for who knows how long. Nobody knows. May run forever, may run a week, may run a day. It really just depends on the whole situation, which as of now is still up in the air. My goal with the project currently is basically recording data. There's some really interesting stuff in the works. Haven't quite gotten to that point where I can share that. I can share it, but I'm making it a surprise. But basically, I'll be able to record data, and we'll be able to get some real information, real data, and everybody gets to see the data and use the data. And I've been kind of waiting for that point where I can get data, because I've proven that there's something here to continue trying to figure out. But I'm kind of stuck in the fact that I don't have any real good way of proof of anything. Basically, it's just, here's what I got. Take it for your own liking. And if you don't agree with what I'm showing, it's all I got for you. I can't show you anything else because I have no way of recording any information as far as data is concerned. Input, output, stuff like that. So there is some really good stuff happening. One of my new friends, his name is Tim, has been helping me out with being able to record data. So he and he's doing a lot of programming on his end for the recording information. So that's coming up. The details will be coming out. That's kind of something I wanted to hold back until I make that all in a single video so that everybody gets the same information all at once. But really good stuff happening with that project. And the only way that these things have gotten this far is by me freely opening myself up to the world and sharing what I have. And by doing that, I've been helped in many ways that I would have never thought possible. I wouldn't be anywhere even close to this if I wouldn't have thrown myself out there, because I'd still be just a guy in the basement tinkering around with only my resources. And right now I get to use hundreds of people's resources, whether it be, you guys offering a place to host, my videos, or, somebody offering a piece of equipment that I don't have, and even if it's just borrowing stuff, I still wouldn't have that if I wouldn't have opened myself up and done stuff in the manner that I have. So it's been a good way of doing things. So PAP research right now.
Awesome. Cool.
On the PAP end, where do you plan on going? What's your direction in the future on that?
Well, currently it's data. What kind of changes can we make to make this system more efficient? Is it even remotely close to working the way we think it is? We don't know. We have a rough idea of input and output, and it's probably horrible, but we really don't know the detail. So let's just say I'm guessing what the input and output is, and then I change something minute. I put a different type of gas in it, or a different mixture of gas in it, and I try the same test. I have no idea if I'm doing good or if I'm doing bad. We don't know. So the goal is, in the next, I don't know, several months, probably the next year, is to try all sorts of different scenarios and see where our efficiencies start to, are better or worse. So data recording, that's what my next focus is. I do have a couple of new circuit ideas, different things that I'm trying to do. I currently still haven't bought any high voltage diodes because they're just too expensive. I just haven't felt like putting down the money for high voltage diodes, and that's one thing that I need to get in order to try some different tests. I'm limited on my resources, on my funding. It's pretty much crowdfunded, and I don't have like a crowdfunding site. I just have, hey, if you guys want to donate, you can go to my website and pitch in if you'd like. And I only ask for donations for people who can do that, people who are willing to help. I would never want to see another researcher throw money my way, because I'd rather them spend that on their own research. And I don't want anybody donating that is just scrounging for money. That's nonsense. It's only there for people that have the extra chunk change or that feel like they want to pitch in. So just got to throw that out there, because people are like, oh, this guy's asking for money, he's probably a fraud. No. It's just there for people who would like to do so. But to answer your question, data recording. That's where I'd like to go with it.
Cool. Awesome.
Okay, I really love watching your videos. They're very entertaining. What's the time? Give us a couple of stories about when you really scared yourself. You either made a big bang, or the neighbours come rushing to your aid. And have you scared yourself a few times? Because some of your stuff is, apart from entertaining, it's pretty scary.
Yeah, that capacitor bank you got is deadly.
Oh yeah.
Oh, even just the 2 or 3 you've got hooked up for the PAP device is deadly. More or less the 50 I've got in that thing. I actually just forked out some research money for some higher voltage, lower capacitance capacitors. I'll answer your question in a mark, just a second, Mark. I'll answer your question. I'm tired today. You guys got me on a long week. But that's all good. That's every day. But I just got some capacitors ordered. They should be here Friday, and they're higher capacitance. Lower capacitance, higher voltage, which I'm really starting to think the key to this device is speed. The faster you can make the reaction happen, the better you are. Because with those capacitors that I bought, the big bank of capacitors, they actually discharge very slow. And I found that out just about the last week or two by doing testing. So we'll talk about that later. But Mark, scary situations. Hydrogen's pretty scary when you mix it with oxygen. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I did try to manipulate I managed to manipulate a generator set, and I was just pumping hydrogen into it. It backfired. Well, that was fun to see a little fireball shoot back at me with the carburetor. The just the carburetor being open like that. That was pretty entertaining. I caught all that on film, so that's on my YouTube. Uh, the other one just recently. All right, I'll tell you a funny story. I decided to set this big capacitor bank off. Um, it's 10,000 joules worth of energy. The bank's probably 2 foot by 1.5 foot by 4 foot tall. It's a big, giant capacitor bank. And I thought, well, let's just see what kind of power we're dealing with. I'm just going to dead short this thing across a contactor. And I know what these contactors can handle. I've seen them being discharged in other scenarios. So let's find out what happens. So, okay, well, I got everything set up. I got everything safety set up wise. It's all remotely discharged. I've actually got a remote I hold in my hand, and I actually leave the area and discharge it that way. Well, it's the first time I ever got to do this. It's about 3:30 in the morning, because that's the only time I get to play around with stuff, is when I don't sleep. And I come out and, okay, we'll set this off. I got my garage door opener about, my garage door is open about 4 foot or so. And my neighbors, I'm in a city, so my neighbors are just, across the street, literally. And I decided I'm gonna set this off. So we'll go outside, okay, and I set this thing off, and it sounded like a small bomb went off, and I'm like, oh, this is bad. 3:30 in the morning. So I walk inside, I shut the garage door, I turned the lights off, and I'm like, I'm just gonna wait just a few minutes, and then when I opened the door, I went back inside, and my wife is actually up, and she's like, don't ever do that again. And I'm like,
I'm sorry.
I woke her up. The house is like facing the opposite direction as the garage door, and it's about 30 feet away, and it woke her up. So I can't imagine what happened to the people I was facing with the garage door. I was like, okay. She's like, just wait till tomorrow in the morning at least, because if you wake the kids up, I'm going to kick your butt. And I'm like, all right, sorry. It was great. So that was a bit interesting.
You're lucky you didn't get the men in the black vans visiting your Homeland Security.
There's always times where I scare the crap out of myself when I'm working with this PAP engine device, because I'll be trying to fire these capacitors, and it won't work, and something happens, it won't work, and then all of a sudden it just pow, and it's really, really, really loud. So I scared myself many a times, Mark, with this darn device.
I've been watching quite a few. I'm probably one of your biggest fans as well. I know Ken is. Is that you should put a compilation of videos together, like bloopers. Some of the fun things you've done. Just put them into a bloopers. I think it'd be a big hit on the wider internet, because the other thing I really admire about what you do replicate. You want to learn yourself. You want to see, are these claims real, or does this really happen? But what's really important is you contribute. You actually find out more, and you're contributing to the greater database, because I know myself and a lot of other people watch your stuff because we learn. And not only just to see what's real and not real, but we like the way you work, that you're always pushing the envelope. And you're always saying, why is it doing this? Why is it not doing that? Perhaps if I did this. And you're actually contributing to the knowledge base. So that's where I think you really, really are doing everybody a great deal of good in this area. My final question, I'll let the other guys ask the questions. What's the underlying motivation? What is it? What do you want? What's your legacy you want to leave the world? What's really motivating you to do this?
That's a good question. I will remark on your earlier comment. You mentioned putting a video together of all this crazy stuff that happens and odd stuff. I actually have been trying to gather all of the just still shots of things that are really crazy that happened to me and put them at least on my website. And then later I'll work on a video. But I want to place on my website where people can go and just see screenshots of like fireballs and me freaking out and stuff. I've got pretty cool pictures, some still shots I've grabbed off video. So anyway,
yeah, there was a cool one of a flashback arrestor with the glowing tube.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Yes, I've got plenty of those. So I wanna put all them in one spot on my website, which I just haven't had time. My motivation, Mark. There's multiple motivations. The primary one is my belief. I have faith in Jesus Christ. That is my Savior. That is what I believe in. And if you follow anything if you look into Christianity and you just look at it, okay, there's something about it that drives me to this point, because what it's about is sharing my faith with people, okay? And by showing people my gift, which is what I'm doing, I'm just showing people my gift. It has motivated more people than I can possibly even fathom. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of people that I have not talked to, will randomly send me a message on Facebook or email or whatever, and just very briefly say, "Thank you. You've encouraged me today to do this just because of that," and that is my primary motivation. My second motivation is this world is pretty corrupt, and I believe there's a better way to deal with things. And for me to try my best on building these things, share my knowledge, and help other people understand, just as you have described, I've helped many random things, which just by doing the research I'm doing, I've helped in many areas. And that by itself is also, it keeps me motivated. People in general keep me motivated. If I don't post a video for a month and Ken's over here wondering if I got, wax or something, it's okay to send me a message and say, "Are you still alive?" Because you don't know. And that makes me feel, better about all the time and effort that I'm spending on this, because people do care. And people care that I am trying what I do. Now, you've got people that are gonna step on you, and that's just normal. I found out a pretty good way to deal with those people. I'm not going to tell you my secret, because if I do, then they'll know. But it's motivating to see the positive feedback and to be able to share my faith, because I do everything using my resources. Literally everything you see back here, about, I don't know, an eighth of it was purchased. Everything else just came from pure resources, finding stuff, taking other things apart and using parts out of it. I'm currently, you can see this big giant milling machine back here. I'm currently trying to figure out a way to run that three-phase motor on 480 volts when I don't have three-phase 480. And I've recently gathered up enough stuff to completely run one of those motors, at least. I think I can do the other one too, off of all recycled equipment. Everything. Didn't pay for a dime. All recycled stuff that somebody's throwing out as junk. Either I fixed it, manipulated it, tricked it into thinking it's doing something it's not supposed to be doing, whatever. So, showing people my resources, that really, when I see somebody respond to me saying, "I didn't know that. I didn't know that there was magnet wire inside of old TVs." Yeah, there is. There's magnet wire inside of old TVs. So, and all the other things that I post random videos on YouTube, and some people don't understand why I go so random all the time. But if you look at the comments and you see the people's reactions, you'll understand why I do that. Every person is different. So for me to be able to share a different aspect of my life with those people, and them giving me positive feedback, and then I see that I've helped somebody, it really keeps me motivated.
Okay, Chris,
it really does.
I think Chris has to go, so I might throw it over to you, Chris. You got a question?
Yep. Well, one thing I do want to point out is one thing I noticed about Russ early on, and because he has been on my group and I've been on his forums, is that he has a unique skill at diffusing some pretty intense conversations on the forums. And I got to give him a lot of respect for that, because that's a skill that I haven't quite honed completely. I just don't post. Or sometimes I even egg it on. But before I go, you started with the Stanley Meyer stuff, and you're doing a lot of interesting work on that. Are you going to return to that anytime soon?
Yeah, what most people don't understand is what I've tried to start was a group of different individuals who would like to help contribute to the research, which is everybody that's possibly watching my video. You can contribute in one way or another. Well, by doing that, by setting myself up over a 2-year period, a lot of other people are doing things in the background that I don't post videos on every day, or I don't mention every day. one of the individuals has been working on building the actual injector. Okay, I'm actually getting the ceramic part, and he's going to try to finish that thing. A few other people have been working on getting particular components that we need or parts that we need. I haven't fully focused on that, um, but yeah, things are happening in the background, and a lot of people, like I say, don't realize that. But those things are slowly, very slowly progressing. And when I get to a point where I've come across something either good or bad, then I will show, what I've learned, basically. But yeah, I haven't given up on that. A lot of people think I gave up. Not even remotely the case. It's just the fact that I'm going where I have the most help. Right now, it's in the PAP research. A lot of people out there that are working on Stan Mayer's replication, all the information is just guess and check, where there are real individuals right now working on PAP replications, and if they have valid, good information, then go there first. That's kind of the way I've been doing. I've been going where the help has been and where I see I'm going to make the most progress. So, no, I haven't given up, but I am going where I see the most progress happening, and that's in the PAP replication. So, might answer your question.
Right on. I appreciate the work you do, and you already know you're always welcome in my group. And uh, great to have you on. And I will see you, Mark and Ken, at a later date.
Catch you
All
later,
right,
Chris.
thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris, for making the time. I really appreciate that. I'm going to throw it over to Ken now.
All right. Cool. Well, I guess let's see. What would you say? We know you're working on the PAP engine. You've worked on Stanley Meyer stuff. Give us an idea of some of the other things for the new viewers that you've worked on in the past, and what progress you've made on them.
Okay, I've worked on a bunch of different stuff. I flip around here and there all the time.
Yeah, you do.
I just can't stop. I just can't stop not trying something different or something new or whatever. It's just me. It's just who I am. Like, if you've ever realized something about anyone, it's that you need a break, period.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to take a project and set it aside, work on something else, because you'll learn something that you'll need to go back and work on that other project. So that's what I've done in this whole situation. I started out working on, actually, the whole thing that got me interested is actually Stan Meyer. A lot of people run across his videos or something on the internet or whatever, and you get some interesting conversations started. Right after that, I started working on. I decided that everybody has tried to replicate Stan Mayer's research, and so I decided not to do that because it's everywhere. Everybody's worked on it. Nobody's come up with anything. So I'm like, okay, let's see what else is out there. I ran across the Rodin coil. The Rodin coil and Marco Rodin's math is very interesting. If you haven't studied the math, you just probably are going to say these people are lunatic. That's fine. You can say that. But until you study the math, I'm not going to listen to you because the math speaks for itself. It's very, very intricate, very interesting. It all lines up. Stuff just doesn't line up like that without being real, okay? And I see that as being real. So I did a huge amount of research on that. I still am, actually. I'm currently working on some 3D printable files to wrap some more Rodin coils.
Yeah,
because at the time,
I love your 3D printer, by the way. The video.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks. So I was working on Rodin coils, and then because I originally started with Stan Mayer's research, I'm like, yeah, this is interesting. Somehow, we come across out of nowhere, there was a gentleman by the name of Don, and he had all of these photographs. Okay, well, I was one of the lucky few that purchased those photographs up front before anyone else got a hold of them. There was, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 of us. So that inspired me to do some more research because it's like, why would somebody spend this much time on this type of thing? I mean, 15 years of your life and so much detailed and I'm just like, it just doesn't make sense that somebody would waste this much effort. So I started replicating a lot of that stuff because I want to find out if it worked the way it was. I'm not really trying to figure out how to make it work in general, but my goal was does this thing work the way I see it? Because we have enough information to replicate it exactly as it was. So that's kind of what I did there. I've also worked on I'm just gonna try to remember everything because there's too much. Some of the stuff's my own creation, if you will. But I've worked on Edley Scowden. If you haven't heard of him, very interesting stuff.
PMH.
There's this interesting stuff. Yeah, the PMH perpetual motion holder. Very interesting. Just stuff that they don't teach you. Okay, so it's interesting to teach other people what I learned. Man, I've just built so many different projects in between projects that it's hard to name them all because like for instance, I built a power supply. I built a 4-channel 0 to like 100-volt 40 amp DC power supply. And when I got done, since I used all recycled equipment, when I got done, I figured out it only will run an induction coil because the kind of driver I used was engineered for that. I was like, well, crap, that doesn't help me. So, but I built all sorts of stuff in between to try to help my progress. Instead of buying a power supply, I decided to build one. Instead of buying particular things, I'll build them. One of the projects that most people don't know about, which they need to go look into this, I wanted to find a way to make a sequence pulsar. So I contacted a guy. His name is William Klanzar, if I say his name right.
Yeah.
And he created this software that runs on an Arduino, okay? And the software is called Pulsefire. What most people don't understand is Pulsefire will do just about everything you want if you're working with pulse motors or HHO devices or whatever. It'll do liter per minute increments. You can do chart recording, data recording. I built a pulse motor and I wanted to find out how long it would run. So I hooked up this device and you can do data logging with an open source Arduino and Pulsefire. If you just Google Pulsefire, you'll find it. And it's open source. You can download it, you can use it, you can do whatever you want with it. It's total open source. And so William has done probably 4 years worth of work on this. No joke. He started before I even asked him to help me out with that project. And he already had a base thing built. But it has a GUI interface. The whole thing works on your computer, ties into the Arduino, and it all works together. So I got to give props out to William. It's every time I use it, it's amazed me at what he's done. It's very detailed and complex, and it can be very confusing because it's all home-built stuff. But once you get the understanding of it, just got to throw that out there. Most people don't know about it. Go look it up. So I built stuff like that. I built my own metering devices. I wanted to find out how explosive is the gas I'm making from an HHO device. And if I mix in different things, how does that happen? I actually built a device over there. I could get it. And it's just a tube with 2 solenoids on it. And I run my gas in there, and the solenoids close off. And I fire that gas with a spark plug, and it pushes out the tube inside there. There's a ring and there's a solid piston. The solid piston pushes the ring out. The ring stays, and then the piston can get sucked back in because you usually have a vacuum after that explosion. I measure the ring and how far away it is from the end of the tube, and I can get a somewhat of a guess of how much pressure was inside that chamber. All this stuff was built from recycled junk, and it was just my own contraption, my own idea of how to measure this gas. So I built a ton of my own tools to try to continue on my research. If you really want to know all the different projects, I built probably see it in the background over there. See that little headlight over there peeking out? That's an electric motorcycle. That was like one of the first things I ever built before I ever even got into this energy research thing. And I wanted to see how much resources could I use to build a fully blown working electric motorcycle. Okay. Let's just say I got paid $30 by the time it was over, and I had a fully functional working electric motorcycle. Because by the time I got all the stuff in and scrapped out all the stuff I didn't need and got rid of all the scrap and made money off scrap, I could actually buy some of the parts that I couldn't find. And I basically took an electric fork truck part, and what was left of the fork truck I scrapped, and that bought my batteries. So I literally built a full-blown working electric motorcycle and gained $30.
Nice.
I mean, that, just to prove that you could, this stuff is out there. You just need to look around you and use your resources. So if you want to see everything that I've done, I'd say 80% of my stuff is posted on my website. The other 20% I just haven't had time to put into a nice form where people can look at on my website. But if there is a projects page, and it's got a whole bunch of different stuff there.
That
So
that is always the battle. Is you're the experimenter, but you're also, as you said, you're the journalist, and it's really hard to find time for both. And we certainly, I do experiments and that, but we're certainly hoping to spread the word about your good work, and I hope to see your following grow over the years. You really are an inspiration to a lot of people, and when people ask me, oh, who I should be looking at, they ask me, where can we find out about stuff? I point them to you. I point them to Zero Fossil Fuel. As you know, he's a bit more conventional, but he's a good presenter, and you've got a good communication skill as well. So I think you're playing to your strengths. Your motivation is absolutely pure, and I think it's great. So from my end, I really hope you just keep on entertaining us, but not more importantly, you are contributing to a lot of other people and their understanding of these anomalies, this phenomena, and I think collectively you're all making progress to building this, let's say, better future where we're not dependent on fossil fuels and other resources like that. Anyway, I better stop interrupting. I'll throw you back to Ken again.
nah, you're fine, Mark.
No worries.
But I guess that's kind of all the questions I had for you. But before we let you go, why don't you give us your website name and maybe your YouTube channel and any other information you want to get out there?
Hey, absolutely. Really quickly, I'll comment on what Mark just said. A lot of people, when I don't post a video for a month, wonder what happened. Well, they don't realize that, like all of us, we work a full-time job, have a full family, and I do a ton of volunteering at my church. I actually run the lights at my church, and they're not just like point and spot. No, this is like full-blown, like real-time lighting. It's insane. It's a lot of work. So I do a lot of stuff there. But I also take care of my forums, take care of my website, try to get all these videos produced and made and recorded, not including all the time I have actually to do the research, which I'm recording. So, I mean, a lot of people don't realize what happened to Russ for that month. It's like, well, I kind of slipped under the radar trying to catch up on other duties. So keep that in mind. My website is rwgresearch.com. That's rwgresearch.com. And my forums is open-source-energy.org. If you find my website or my YouTube or the forums, you can pretty much find any three. They're always linked together somehow. The forums I originally created because I was getting so much positive feedback on the YouTube comments that I couldn't keep up. People were sending me emails and stuff, and I'm like, this is absolutely insane. So I'm like, somebody help me. I basically poured out a cry for help, and one of my friends, Matt, he actually donated my website and my forums at the time, and me and him go back and forth on keeping that paid for. It's not too expensive, but we just kind of take turns. And so anyway, that's my website, and my YouTube is RWG42985. If you just Google Russ Gries, RUSSGRIES, you're bound to find me on about 100 pages. It's kind of stupid, actually.
Yeah. You kind of spread all over the place. All right. Well,
I know.
Well, Mark, do you have any final input?
No, we're actually doing all those links on our side. I think we've got to put the forum one up, but Ken will do that for me. I'm in the tropics here. It's starting to pour with rain again, so I have to go as well and check what's going to flood. But Russ, thank you so much for your time. Time is very valuable. You're an absolute inspiration, and just keep up the good work. And we've got links to your forum on our web links, our forum links, and also the YouTube. And thanks for doing what you're doing. You're absolutely an inspiration for humanity. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.